How long have you been a pastor?
Oh, since 2008. December 7th, 2008. I looked it up. Oh my gosh, way too long. Absolutely way too long.
How did you get into it? How does one become a pastor, I guess? Is the better way to say it.
How does one become a pastor? Well, you got to be called to it. That's for one thing. That's starters. Then there's a whole long list of things hoops you gotta jump through.
History, behind this church specifically, or what would say?
St. Anne's began in 1958,
Okay.
and it was over on Route 19, right in Crystal River. Smaller building, and about I think it was 1984 they decided to build over on this side,
Right.
and this is this big place we have now that's actually destroyed, but that's where we've been, and so that's how it's been here.
What role do you feel like the church plays in people's lives? Do you think, or what role do you think it should play?
I think it's I think a lot of people do it for camaraderie, friendship. I'd like to say people do it for other reasons, but I think that's a huge reason. I know I asked, when I first started out, I asked a group of elders in the church. They were all women, and I was asking them questions, and I was like, well, why do you come to church? Not one person said they come for their faith or for spirituality. It was, oh, we come for fellowship. We come for camaraderie. And so I was like, oh, okay. I was expecting to hear something else. But I think what role I think it should play. Kind of goes and ties in with what you have for the spiritual aspect of the church, that it should be a place for healing where everybody is welcome, and you're not judged. And unfortunately, it has not been my experience in church. Churches, they tend to really, they're judgmental, and they're great at making people not feel welcomed. And I think that's the biggest challenge that I have, is trying to bridge that gap, and sometimes I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall. So, someone once told me that, church is the only place where we shoot our wounded. And I think there's so much truth in that. Because, if you're not one of the group, you might as well not even come. And that's sad. I think it's sad, because that's not what church is supposed to be about.
But do you think that people come to church to feel like they're a part of the group, or
I think there's a lot of people hurting, and they want a sense of hope, a sense of belonging.
Do you feel that the church community differs? Because Maddie mentioned that you also used to be a pastor up in New York. Do you feel like it differs greatly based off location?
Oh, I do. I think when I was up in New York, it was different. There was more people were willing to roll up their sleeves and help. Down here, I think the big difference is it's a retirement community, and really that's what they want. They don't want young families. They don't want anybody that doesn't look like themselves. And it's not just my experience. It's other pastors that I've talked to. And, I think they've drank the Kool-Aid that when they come down here, it's like, okay, we're retired and we don't have to do anything, and we don't want anybody that doesn't look like us, act like us. And there's a big push just to keep it that way. And it's really sad, because you see churches closing. And then those churches that are embracing a multi-generational approach, they're growing. It's not rocket science. It's this generation of old people, they're dying out. Nobody's going to replace them, because they're just gone. And we're seeing that. We're seeing, especially in our church and in the wider church. Since I've been ordained, something like we've lost worldwide about 33% of our total population for the Episcopal Church, and that number just keeps going up and up and up. So I absolutely do notice that, and I wasn't the only one. I went to a seminar with other clergy, and they said the same thing. They were like, yeah, it's like, I think it was somebody else said that. It was a pastor, and she's like, yeah, I think they drank the Kool-Aid. They just believe that this is what church is. And I've had I've had at length discussions with the parishioners here, and they're just, they're set in their ways and they don't want to change. And it's sad.
Do you feel like that religion, I would say, just the religion in general in Florida, do you think it's, maybe different is a good question, but maybe also just more varied, or no?
I think there's more of it. I mean, I'm always blown away at just the number of churches that are around and just difference. It seems like, this is a very religious community, and yet I hear a lot of racism. It's like something just doesn't mesh. I just don't get it. I've heard more racist things down here, more, if you're different, you don't have a place. And so, I don't know if it's a Florida thing or if it's just where culture's going now, but I can say I didn't hear that stuff up north.
It's your least favorite thing.
Oh, wow. The personalities. It really, when I see people being judged and I see people being treated unfairly, and that really gets to me. I'll get, it's church is supposed to be, should be a place where they said, you can come, you're broken, and we're all broken. We build each other up, we support each other, and a place where you're not afraid to be you. And church is a place where it's just, as I said, has not been my experience, at least here. And so that ugliness really, it's definitely by far my least favorite thing, because it just seems like it's so infected, the church, and they think they're actually good Christian people, and it's sad. I'd like to say something different, say something more positive, but that's the reality. It's what I see, and it's, if pastors want to be brutally honest, I think it's a lot of reasons why they leave. They see that ugliness in churches, and it's not a place where it belongs. And it's like you're one person trying to lead a charge, and so that judgmental attitude that really hurts people. That's the part that really is a big turnoff. And somewhere if I could find a way around that, I think it would be kind of a good place to be.